Good afternoon. Yeah, my name is David Min. I will talk about the building agentic GenAI applications with MongoDB Atlas on AWS today. Now, um, let me move on. So we have quite a condensed time today, so I'm going to walk you through several concepts here. So wherever you are coming from, different backgrounds, but I want to give you a quick background of how you build your agent, right? So fundamental concept, mental model, as well as the technology stack that you can leverage to start building your agents. And then last but not least, I have some fun demo at the end, and then we'll have some fun. Sound good? All right, so if anybody asks you how to build your agent, right? So GenAI, Agentic AI. So if I boil it down to three constructs, right? Fundamental constructs, it boils down to model, prompt, and tools, right? Because if, contrary to traditional chatbot, where you ask question, you get an answer, but you still have to take actions on your own, right? So the pressure is on human to take actions. But then when it comes to agentic AI, being able to take actions using tools, now you're turning the LLM models into sort of actionable, agent that can take your action. So sort of a high-level abstraction. You can see the agent class with your model definition, which is your brain of the agent. And then you can give a system prompt. I think you heard a lot about context management, right? So you can feed those contexts that the LLM uses through the system prompt, user prompt, different techniques out there. And then you give very specific tools for the agent to perform specific tasks that allow you to create that either general purpose agent or multi-purpose agent as well. All right, so in the heart of the agent abstraction, if you look at any open source framework, everybody is tapping into agent loop. So if you look at the actual input going into the model, and then if you look at this agent loop, there is a reasoning component, the LLM, and then it's going to go through the reasoning, come up with the tool selection that I'm going to have to execute to get the task done, and then go ahead and execute the task, and then feed it back to the model, and then you go through this loop until you accomplish the task, right? So it's going to go through multi-step reasoning, multi-step tool execution, and actions taking. That way, at the end of it, you get the outcome of the model execution, right? So again, two different concepts sort of give you a good understanding of how model is being built through these constructs, as well as agent loop, right? So that's simple enough, right? So two mental models. Now let's build on that, right? So with that concept, let's take a look at the technology stack. So on AWS, we have multiple tools out there for you to start building production-ready agents, right? So on your left side, you have Kiro. I'm sure you've done enough vibe coding until now. So how do you take your vibe coding to the next level, right? So we have introduced spec-driven development. So Kiro does that for you. So anywhere from ideation to planning. So you have brilliant idea to go solve a certain problem. You start with Kiro, with the spec-driven development. And then we've introduced Trans Agents last year, which is open source agent framework. And then we talked about the agent loop, and Trans Agents really leverage the model-driven orchestration through this agent loop so that it goes through the reasoning, and then it can take the complex actions for you. And then when you are building your agent fully tested in or a different environment, you want to take it to production and start scaling. And that's where the agent core comes in, where it really help you build the production scale agent. And it comes with all the composable services for you to leverage as well. Again, at the bottom, the agent core, the tagline is any model, any framework, because it's a serverless service and fully managed services that allow you to take any model, any framework, then you can can go production with that. All right, so within the heart of this agent deployment, right, we have Amazon Bedrock. And Amazon Bedrock has major components in terms of the model inference, as well as customization, and also additional managed services for you to leverage. For example, I leveraged the fully managed knowledge base to build a demo for you. So we'll go through the video later on. And Bedrock as well as Agent Core is really open source friendly. So you heard about the MCP protocol, A2A protocol is fully supported. And a lot of open source frameworks that you might have been already using or you're familiar with, anywhere from CrewAI, LangGraph, LangChain, also our own Strands agents, fully open source, and then it supports any model. All right, so let's build on that. So we've talked about the three constructs, right? Model, prompt, tools. So if you look at the Strands agents, in the agent class, when you import that, you declare your model that you want to use, and then you give it a model, you give it a prompt, and then you give it a tools. So in this case, I created some domain-specific tools in this use case that I built, which has find customer. It's basically customer service agent, right? So I want to be able to find customer. I want to be able to search products, and then get order information for you, right? So that's my definition of the customer service agent. And then certainly the data layer comes from MongoDB. So I want to leverage vector search. So whether that's the FAQ that we want to vectorize and be able to do semantic search, or some knowledge base that I want to be able to answer customer questions, right? So I think we just went, previous session, we went deep into, vector search, the various techniques that you can use. So anywhere from simple vector search, semantic search, or lexical search, hybrid search, you can apply filtering and whatnot. So I'm sure all of you are very familiar with. And then, popular technique, RAG, retrieval augmented generation. So, in terms of leveraging your domain knowledge and be able to retrieve the right information and give it to the LLM model to synthesize and generate grounded answer, so that it doesn't hallucinate, and then really, help the agent to get back to the customer with the right answer. So that's gonna be the technique that we wanna use. And then when you build your agent on top on AWS with MongoDB Atlas, you get access to wide variety of services from AWS. So we just talked about the vector search, all the services that you get from MongoDB, as well as the native services comes from AWS. So that's the benefit of building on top of AWS. Now, again, when you're done with your agent building, fully tested, users are happy, how do we take it to production, right? So we've introduced Agent Core. It is currently GA. So you can go ahead and deploy your existing agent with 3 lines of code. So the Agent Core runtime is your agent serving layer. So it's a serverless runtime. And then basically 3 lines of code, you can import your app, declare your app, and then having a decorator, app decorator within your invocation function in Python. Then you'll be able to take your existing agent code, and then we'll wrap that into a web framework and then make it as an API call. We'll handle that for you. That way you don't have to worry about all the infrastructure. You focus on building your agent logic there. Again, we talked about any model, any framework support. So really make sure all the developers make it easy to really develop your agent framework and then take it to the production. All right. So I briefly touched on runtime, just one component, but it's really, if you look at the agent core, it's composable services that you need to start building your agent, anywhere from memory, identity services, gateway. Gateway is if you think, you can think of it as a MCP proxy. So you can bring in a Lambda function, API, your own API, turn it into MCP server. You can even bring unsecure MCP server, put it behind the gateway, so that you can make a secure MCP server to your enterprise agent. We do have fully managed tools like code interpreter, browser tool, as well as full observability. And then we also support open telemetry as well, so that you can bring in third-party observability tools. We also announced policy and evaluation services in preview during the last reInvent. All right, so I went through really fast because I wanted to leave some time for demo. So I have a recorded video here. I didn't speed up. So you'll see the inference speed as well as the fun scenario. So when I got the time slot for the speaking session, I spent a few days last week coming up with the demo. So I was thinking about what's the popular use case, right? So we all do online shopping. So I wanted to create an agent for this fictitious e-commerce company. I'm going to be a customer, and then I'm going to ask some questions, perform some, ask some help, and then we'll see how this agent responds to me, take some actions, right? So with that, I'm going to pick some technologies from the stack that we talked about. So I'm going to leverage Strengths agents. I'm going to use a Claude 4.5 Haiku model on Bedrock. And I'm going to leverage MongoDB as well as Agent Core. So let's play. All right, so in the agent prompt, I'm going to start with greeting. I say hi. All right, so I get the response. OK, so I've got some tools. And I'm going to ask, hey, I would like to check the status of my most recent order. Because I was coming here, and then I ordered some goods, MongoDB products last week. And then it's asking me my email address. So I'm going to give my fictitious email. And then you notice that the agent invokes the tool, get orders, and then retrieved my order information. You can see I've got some T-shirts, hoodie, and so on. And you notice the address. That's some fictitious address. But then I realized that I need to ship it to here, the Midway, San Francisco. So I'm asking the agent to, hey, can you help me change the address? And by the way, the order is already on the way. So the agent is asking me, hey, can you give me a specific address, right? Because you need that detail in order to follow up. So I don't have information of the exact address. Can you help me to look up? Agent kindly responded and say, you can tell me exact address, or I can look it up for you. What do you want? So I tell it, hey, go ahead and search the web. It decides to use the web search tool, and then got the address here, right? So this is 900 Marine Street. All right, perfect. So, and then it's telling me that, hey, its order is already on the way. It's hard to change the address, but I'll try. So I told it to do it. And then I got the additional information as well. All right, so I think in this case, looks like last minute change, looks like there's going to be some additional fee. So I asked for, hey, can you help me open a support ticket? So it decides to use create support ticket tool to generate a support ticket for me, and then give me the information here. All right, so I was able to successfully change the address, open a ticket, and then I'm happy now. So, and then I noticed that I've got 2 T-shirts coming on the, coming my way. So I want to be able to, hey, ask return policy. It used the FAQ tool to retrieve the return policy information, give it to me, and then I'm going to ask agent to return one of my t-shirts because I have 2 t-shirts ordered. And then it's telling me that, hey, it's already on the way. Looking at the return policy, you can go ahead and receive it first and then process the return according to my instruction. Okay, so that's good information I have. All right, it sounds good to me. I'm gonna politely say, got it. Thanks for your help. You know, be always friendly to your agent, right? So, and then it's gonna summarize what we did so far, and then there's what you have. All right, have a good day. All right, so I'm gonna refresh the session now. Okay, so what's the fun without using it for the session as well? So in this case, I'm gonna repurpose this agent to, hey, I wanna recap what we go through, right? What we went through this session. So I'm telling the agent that, hey, I'm in the San Francisco MongoDB event, and ask some question about MongoDB vector search. All right, so what I did was I vectorized some of the information, technical information, so the agent has access to additional tools, RAG, knowledge base, and he pulled up information for me, which is great. I can spend time reading this, but at the same time, hey, I'm a visual guy, give me some sort of diagrams that I can digest visually. And then you can use Mermaid, which is sort of open source tool. So it's sort of real-time rendering the Mermaid diagrams for me based on all the knowledge that it retrieved from the RAG system, which is really fast. So I couldn't digest the speed that is being generated, so I pulled it up. Okay, so let's take a look, right? So it went through vector search architecture, data pipeline, and query here, start with user query, generate the query, you get the vector search, and so on. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's much easier to visualize than the reading a whole bunch of text. Put me to sleep, so this is great, right? So, and then let's also talk about Strands agents. So that makes a lot of sense. What's Strands agents? Again, using search knowledge tool, it generates a whole bunch of sample code and diagram for me. Okay, that's great. Based on the chat history, it knows I like to visualize things. So, okay, Strands agents plus MongoDB Atlas, powerful RAG. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then it also came up with some perfect use cases. And number 1, customer service agents is what we are demoing today. So, wow, that's great. Okay, so I respond, that sounds good, good insights. And it also come up with some suggestions when you bump into MongoDB or AWS folks, go ahead and make sure you ask those questions. So enjoy the conference. So that's the end of the demo. Hopefully that was fun and useful. And I want to leave you with key takeaway points here. So, okay. So Agentic AI, you know what it is. We got some mental model, agent loop. We also talked about Strands agents, MongoDB Atlas, vector search, agent core. And putting it all together, you should be able to build your production ready. And I think as we all say in business, right? Speed matters in business. And so, by having AWS taking care of all the groundwork, with the fully managed services, you should be able to move fast and get your agents in production. With that, that's all I have. Thank you very much.